Hello, and welcome to True Crime Lounge. This is a mini-series podcast that I originally started on my channel, but I'm rebranding it as a podcast. Um, if you recall, the first video in the first podcast in this series is called It's for Peter Nygaard. This series is the House of Versace. I'm on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and Facebook. I also have a merch shop that you can go and check out as well. Note that any of like the teal blue, the yellows, the greens is all for an awareness. And any shirt you buy, those profits will go to a non-profit that's that specializes in that. But anyway, with that being said, why don't we get started with the House of Versace? And I'm probably gonna butcher this up, and I don't mean to. I'm not a fashionista, by no means, and I'm also terrible with names. So I'm gonna do my best to say it correctly. Um, so before we really dive into what happened, why don't we talk about the House of Versace for a minute? It was a brand that was created and envisioned by fashion designer Gianni Maria Versace. She was born December 2nd, 1946, and died July 15th, 1997. She is known for she is known for its lavish and exaggerant, exuberant style. The the main thing behind Versace is captivating the power of women and making the Medusa emblem a flawless representation of the fashion house. So the women in his life that inspired Gianni Versace in more ways than none. His mother wildly successful clothing shop sparked his love for fashion. Growing up in an environment surrounded by fashion magazines, fabrics, and patterns, and the influence of strong and, and the influential strong figure of his mother fueled his passion and admiration for strong women. Not by chance, the Versace brand is known for celebrating women. So Mr. Gianni was fascinated by the extravagance, and he thought the designer should challenge the rules and break the norm. Being controversial was just natural for him. As the fashion and film industry remembers well, a tragic event led to his death and stopped his career. The assassination of Gianni Versace was suffered by many, and all by most of all by his sister Donatella. While suffering this profound loss, Donatella Versace took over the creative direction of Versace and brand success. Um, made the brand success continue to grow. So all the ingredients that helped Gianni Versace's vision came true were in his sister, as Donatello was one of his muses. Since childhood, brother and sister have shared a special bond, and all the adventures that they had together in a small village of Reggio, Calabria, were at the heart of the brand's creativity. Gianni Versace's first design was sketched thinking of her. Even Donatella Versace still that she says that what makes Versace unique is who she is. So, who is Gianni Versace? Well, we know him and Donatella's the face of Versace, but who is he really? Well, he was a talented courtier. The way he created his designs, it was truly unique. He sculpted directly on mannequins, giving much relevance to his place's forms, his piece's forms. He added that he had a personal meaning for him, meaning for him. An example would be his first designer piece for Adela Versace, a short black dress with heavy embellished with the brand's safety pins from the autumn-winter collection in 1989 and 1990. Designed as a tribute to his mother during his fittings her at the boutiques. His definition of femininity challenged gender barriers and experimenting with techniques traditionally known as menswear, such as weight, texture of fabric, and seen as the autumn. So, when in 1989-82 Ready to Wear collection, this is where he played a lot with contrasting proportions, broad masculine shoulders, and softer feminine shapes. The shapes were drafting in his clothes reminiscent of the goddess statue he saw growing up among the ancient ruins of the city. As one of the first Italian designers to create all leather collections, the name became established in the industry when he debuted in 1975 with the first creation for his accomplish. So on March 28, 1978, the Palazzo della Parmense in Milan, Gianni Versace presented the first women's collection under his name. He was an innovator. In his autumn-winter 1982-83 collection, he introduced new material that would become a staple in the Versace legacy. A metal flesh flexible enough to be draped like a dress. He was also inspired by the knights and the medieval romanticism that created something worthy for women of irresistible power. In the words of Gianni Versace, don't be into trends. Don't make fashion own you. But you decide what you are, what you want to express by the way you dress. Known for his curiosity, he was always surrounded by people from different artistic backgrounds. He was credited with introducing the term supermodel when he launched the careers of Naomi Campbell, Cindy Crawford, and Christy Teigen. Under his watch, models started to become celebrities. So impressive that Gianni Versace's creation, that the British actress and model Elizabeth Hurley was catapulted into the headlines for arriving in the red carpet in a Versace green dress which accompanied Hugh Grant to a premiere of Four Weddings and a Funeral in 1994. The body-conscious black dress was a plunging V neckline that revealed the actress' body and was open side held together by several oversized gold safety pins. The actress and the dress both achieved iconic status that night, and the fashion house became synonymous with Hollywood. Today, the safety pin dress is still known as that dress, and that is in all caps, by the way. So, with that being said, what about Donatella Versace? Well, we know she took over the fashion house, um, and she took the helm of the family business, turning it into an empire. Well, she's Gianni Versace's younger sister. Since childhood, the two were inseparable. She was considered his muse and used to dress her for and create an iconic platinum blonde look. After his death, she succeeded him, starting a new chapter in Versace history. Having been at the helm of Versace Empire, an artistic director since 1997, Donatella has overseen the growth of the group's luxury lines alongside the expansion into accessories, home, and hotels, creating a luxury lifestyle brand. But the involvement with the brand did not begin then. Although sudden, her career transition to artistic director was not unnatural at all. Gio- Johnny, is it Johnny or Gianni? I think it's Johnny, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I'm gonna, I might go back and forth, but please excuse me. Um, Johnny Versace often asked her opinion when creating his designs, and her approval, and was essential to him. Miss Versace also had a powerful impact on the evolution of the brand's image, and she was responsible for many aspects of Versace world, including photo shoots, um, and then so the supermodels would not have existed in the same way because she was the one who hired them to walk in the catwalks. Overcoming the tragedy and working with tenacity with among great merits of Donatella Versace, who brought who brought an already soaring family business to the top. In 2018, the company was acquired by Michael Kors Holding, now rebranded Capri Holdings, for 2.1 million. Exceeding expectations, she brought the same spirit and innovation to the Mason was known for into her creations. After all, Donatella had always been the brand's heart and soul. She always focused on interjecting pop culture into her designs, notably creating strong connections with her music. Probably the most known is J Lo's green Versace dress that she wore at the 2000 Grammys. The dress was immediately called a jungle dress. It was designed that Mom Versace revived the that Versace revived and archived later the night's showstopper. After debuting the Versace catwalk for the spring summer 2000 in Milan, in the autumn of 1999, where American supermodel Ashley Valletta wore it. The topical print dress was already appeared on red carpets worn by Ginger Spice and Miss Versace herself at the Met Gala on December 6, 1999. But it was J Lo who brought the jungle dress to success. The scarf, which the scarf-like dress, which is leafy tropical pattern and had long sleeves in the front of it, was a brooch right under J Lo's navel. Brooch, my bad. Um, showing most of her chest. Not expecting when something closed that a lot of celebrities were today. Just saying. But anyway, it was scandalous and everybody loved it. It also led to the creation of Google Images, or Google Images search engine, since everyone would search for the dress in Jennifer Lopez's look. So Miss Versace and JLo collaborated. Um, again for the spring 2020 women's wear collection, which, when the planetary store closed for the fashion house, and the surprise was to be appreciated by the guests and received by a standing ovation. Today, Donatella keeps creating iconic pieces at a time, and for the brand, while continuing to team up with celebrities. Artists such as Dua Lipa, Maluma, I think that's how you pronounce it, are currently very close to the brand and star in some of the most popular campaigns. So, the Versace story is about family values. The history of Versace has been an eventful one. From the beginnings linked to Gianni and Donatella's little hometown in southern Italy to the rise of Gianni's fame in Milan, the tragic event in Miami, in the moment the brand found its place again under Donatella's vision. The similarity between Johnny, um, and Donatella is out of this world and goes beyond blood ties. Even after Johnny Versace's passing, the fashion house followed a natural evolution as if it was creative man had never left. Donatella the muse became Donatella Versace, the author. The family's roots are valued um, in the Versace and had kept the brand thriving, making the company heavyweight in the global fashion industry. Even though many are familiar with this, the story of resilience is the one to be told and later said. Later is loud and clear. It's Versace, not Versace. Now that we talked about the history of the house, why don't we move into the actual the events that happened that fateful day that killed Gianni Versace? Well, let's review for a little bit. He was born December 2nd, 1946 in Reggio Calabria, Italy. He died July 15th, 1997 in Miami Beach, Florida. Um, he also It was on July 15th, 1997, while returning from his Miami Beach home after a morning walk, Versace was shot and killed on the front steps by the serial killer Andrew Cunanan. And at the time of his death, many believed that the designer's 25-year career was at its peak. He had tempered his flashy early works and begun to create increasingly refined yet colorful and sexy ensembles. His company had expanded to produce clothing for men, women, and children, as well as handbags, precious jewelry, perfume, and items for home. Versace's work was honored by the posthumous retrospective held December 1997 to March 1998 at the Costume Institute of the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. After his death, his sister took over as head designer for the Versace label. Now, why don't we talk about Andrew Cunanan? Well, let's let's get to know a little bit about him first. He was born August 31st, 1969. He died July 31st, 1997. He was an American spree killer. He was an American serial spree killer who murdered at least 5 people, including the fashion designer Gianni Versace, during a 3-month period in 1997, ending with his suicide at 27. So on June 12, 1997, Cunanan began Cunanan began the 449 fugitive became the 449 fugitive to be listed by the FBI's top 10 most wanted fugitives list. So what about his early life? Well, he was born in National City, California, to Modesto Cunanan, a Filipino American, and Mary Ann Shalasi, an Italian American. He was the youngest of four. Um, he could not attend his dad could not attend his birth as he was in Navy at the Vietnam War at the time. So in 1981, his father enrolled him in the Bishop School in La Jolla neighborhood in San Diego, California. At school, he was remembered as being bright, talkative, and testing with an IQ of 147. As a teenager, he developed a reputation of being a prolific liar, telling fantastic tales with his family and his personal life. He would adapt to changing the appearance according to what he felt was most attractive at the given moment. So, after graduating from high school in 1987, he enrolled in University of California, San Diego, where he majored in American history. He graduated from UCSD, and he graduated in the Castro district of San Francisco. There he frequented high-class gay bars and prostituted himself to wealthy older men. When Cunanan was 19, his father deserted the family to avoid arrest for embezzlement. That same year, his mother learned of Andrew's homosexuality. During that during the ensuing argument, he threw her against the wall, dislocating her shoulder. Before the murders, Cunanan was involved with in petty theft and drug dealing. So let's talk about the murders for a second. Well, the first murder was The first murder was that of his friend Jeffrey Trail, a former U.S. naval officer and profane salesman, on April 25th, 1997, in Minneapolis. The next morning was in sorry. Um Next morning was an architect who was named at the East Shore of Rush Lake, Rush City, Minnesota on April 29th, 1907, with gunshots wounded to the head. Police recognized the connection as Trail's body had been found in Madison's Minneapolis loft apartment. Cunanan drove to Chicago and killed 72-year-old Lee Micklin, a prominent real estate developer, on May 4th, 1997. Following the murder, the FBI added him to the top 10 most wanted. 5 days later, he took Micklin's car and found his fourth victim in Pennsville, New Jersey, at the Finn Point National Cemetery, killing 45-year-old caretaker William Reese. So, while the manhunt focused on Reese's truck, Cunanan hid in plain sight in Miami Beach, Florida for 2 months before his fourth and fifth murder. He even used his own name as a pawn as a stolen item. Knowing that the police routinely checked pawn shop and records for stolen merchandise. On July 15, 1997, Cunanan murdered fashion designer Gianni Versace. A witness attempted to pursue him, but she was not caught. The vehicle he used included the clothes he had been wearing, an alternative passport, and a newspaper clipping of his murders was found in a nearby garbage by the police who responded. 8 days after murdering Versace on July 23, 1997, Cunanan shot himself in the mouth in the upstairs bedroom aboard a Miami houseboat. He used the same gun that he used to commit the other murders, a Taurus semi-automatic pistol of a .40 S&W caliber, which was stolen from the victim, Jeff Trail. So, what was his motive behind these killings? Well, at the time of his crime, there was no public and press speculation that Cunanan's motives were tied to a diagnosis of HIV infection. However, the autopsy found him to be negative. Police searched the houseboat where Cunanan died in order to piece together his motive for a killing spree. However, Cunanan left behind personal belongings surprising investigators, giving his reputation for acquiring money and expensive possessions from wealthy older men. Police considered few of the findings to be a no, except for multiple tubes of hydrocortisone cream, a fairly extensive collection of fiction of C.S. Lewis. So his motives still remain a mystery. There's been various theories, such as jealousy, for Versace being rolled as a gay icon, as well as necessity for opportunity in some of the other murders. Examination of his behaviors from reports also indicate that he may have been a psychopath, which is a personality disorder characterized by an abnormal lack of empathy. But but I actually thought this was interesting. So he was actually voted by his classmates most likely to not to be forgotten, and he was not forgotten. He lives down as the man who killed 5 people and shot a among those who was a famous fashion designer. So, yeah. That's it for today's episode. I will see y'all next time.